Hey there, welcome to Contracts and Chaos. My name's Alyssa.
And I'm Brenna, and we're here to tell you that you are not alone in the mayhem of this real estate industry.
We're keeping it real and sharing our stories, strategies, and successes in today's real estate world.
So come join us every Tuesday while we talk Contracts and Chaos.
On Thanksgiving. So let's talk about this. Did we just get that recorded?
I hit recording after I said we're talking about boundaries, and you said it started recording, and you said, quote, I was violated on Thanksgiving. So I think that might be the best intro that we've ever had for a podcast. So we're just gonna leave it boundaries.
All right, y'all. Holidays are coming up, and boundaries are important in your business no matter what time of year, especially if you have a family. Or for me, I haven't pursued a relationship in 2 years because for a long time I didn't have boundaries in my business. But around the holidays, it's even more important because obviously these are very special times. And so we want to talk about how we set those boundaries so that our clients know what to expect, but are also being served properly at the same time. And like you heard in our intro, I did not do a good job of that at Thanksgiving. Partially my fault, partially not my fault. So I think the most important part of boundaries is communication. You have to tell people, hey, this is when I'm done working for the year, for the week, for the holiday, whatever, for the day. Like when I meet with new clients, I say, hey guys, after like 6:30, no. And I, as a single girl, I say, cause let's both hope I'm on a date like that. Maybe I'm out like meeting people and I'm never on a date, like not in my world, but like I play it off as fun to say, hey, like in a very polite, fun way of saying I have a life too. And
right.
So I always say, like, if I'm not and I happen to be home and I'm on the couch doing whatever and I see something pop up, I'll jump on the laptop and work on it. But otherwise, like, that's my boundary for those times. And I used to say, and part of that's because I coach CrossFit at 5 a.m. So I'm up at 4. So I'm in bed by 8 o'clock. Like, no. But with holidays or special occasions, like for me, my niece and nephew's birthdays, hard stops, don't call me. My phone is off. For usually like 2 hours before the party and an hour after, because Aunt Yaya has to make birthday cakes and it's always last minute because of this business. So I think that's the number one thing in setting a boundary. And I absolutely failed at Thanksgiving. Part of it is because I have had another agent, and we talk about this in another episode coming up about communication with agents, just blindly send an offer that had an expiration on it and just sent it through Dotloop, didn't send anything. And I just got an email or a text message that said, please confirm receipt of offer. Now this was like a week and a half after we had countered their original offer and got no communication. So we didn't even know this was a possibility.
Right.
We had assumed that they walked. They had an expiration for 6 o'clock the night before Thanksgiving. Now, my client had seen the terms, we'd had it, but they didn't send the proof of funds that was updated. And their old proof of funds was like 10 grand short. And we were like, no, we need to see the difference. They sent that proof of funds at 5:41. So on Thanksgiving, which was fine. I didn't mind. It was like a couple questions. It took me 2 minutes. Then we signed it and we sent the deal. But I should have had that boundary up. I should have said, hey, tomorrow's Thanksgiving, so if we could get this done tonight, otherwise we're not going to talk till Friday.
Right.
Especially if you have a family. Like, thankfully, at that point, I'm a single girl. I was just throwing together a couple recipes to take to a friend's house, but it still was a bummer to get to a friend's house and have to send an email. And I was like, But you have to set those boundaries. How do you set your boundaries, Brenna?
Well, so in my experience, we'll back up. So when I first got into real estate, I was like available 24/7, every day, all day, whatever you need, I'm here within 3 seconds, right? That's just not maintainable. It's not healthy. And it really honestly didn't build a great business,
Well,
because
I
go
think
ahead.
in your defense, though, we both got into this industry when you had to be a Pop-Tart agent. That's what I call them.
Yeah.
Pop, pop,
Oh,
pop. They were
oh,
popcorn, pop cart.
oh, that's good. Yeah.
Like,
That is the truth because it was one of those. This house hit the market 37 seconds ago. If we can't be there in 10 minutes, we're gonna miss it.
right. You had to.
But in that instance, I started, we were doing a lot of open houses. I was taking buyers out at all hours, all places. It was the kid. It's hard because I'm the opposite of Alyssa and I have two kids, several animals, a husband, and so we do dinner
20
together every night, like all of that stuff. And it like dinner together every night is very important to me. And when I started like, no, 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 just go ahead, everything's done. I made sure dinner was made, like just
right.
eat, I'll eat when I get back. That was I was like, I hate this. I hate it. So I started real small. My first boundary that I set was I changed my voicemail. And it said, hi, my name is Brenna Stebbins with whatever brokerage. And I obviously can't get to the phone right now, right? But at the very end, it says, if you've reached this message on a Sunday or after 6 p.m., I will call you back tomorrow.
I love it.
That
I
was
love
the
it.
first boundary that I set. And it took, because I got a lot of phone calls, and it's like, oh no, somebody needs something, but they don't, and if it's after 6 p.m., I'm not taking you out to go see a house at 8 o'clock. You can't really see the house that great, like none of that. We'll do it tomorrow. And no, I had no pushback on that, not one bit. And I started in buyer consultations and listing appointments that 6 o'clock is like phones are up for our family, right? That's dinner time, that's homework, that's showers and bed, like that's our time. So unless it's an emergency, I won't be available. And same thing with you. Like we still have phones sometimes. Like if I hear a phone call, if I see a text message, if I can take care of it, I will. But I don't have to. And I think that was a bigger mindset change for me than anybody else because nobody has ever cared. Nobody has said, oh my gosh, she doesn't answer her phone after 6 o'clock. Not one
Right.
time. So that was a huge thing for me. And then same thing, anytime I know that I'm going to be away, I have an automatic text responder that will be set up or an email responder that says, hey, I don't have, like when we went on the cruise this summer, I don't have great service, right? I'm going to be out of the country. I will be checking emails between 1 and 2 p.m.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Or I'll be checking emails tomorrow. They don't care when you get back to them as long as you get back to them. Now, my recommendation is not to say, I will call you back within an hour. Don't do that.
Right.
Don't do that. If you're going to do anything, set too broad of an expectation. Like, I will get back to you within 24 hours. If you get back to them in 3 hours, you look like a rock star. But if you
Right.
say I'll be back to you within an hour and it takes you 2 hours, now we're disappointed.
And I loved, what was it you said? There was something you said, and normally I have a pen and I write it down, and I totally blanked on it.
That I just said?
Yeah, like 3 sentences ago. Oh, the after 6 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
I always also say, because I'm one of those people that like in stressful situations or at funerals, I try to make people laugh because it works. And so I always say, like, there's no such thing as an emergency. Even when the market was crazy, if your house is on fire or the house you're buying catches fire, you shouldn't be calling me. I'm not the one
Right.
that's going to fix this. Call the fire department and we'll talk tomorrow morning. Like, there's nothing that I
It's true
can,
though.
especially if it's something that an attorney needs to handle or a bank. Like, yeah, I could have a conversation with the other agent, but I can't have anything finalized or taken care of because those businesses that control that are closed at 5 o'clock.
Yes. So that was one of the like clicking factors for whatever happened in my brain. Even if they need an updated pre-approval. And listen, I have some great lenders that I can text at 7:30 at night and say,
Right.
"Hi, I need you," right? And they're great, but they have work hours. You know what I mean? You aren't when you leave your job at 5 p.m., you aren't expected to go back in at 6 o'clock because somebody called and they can't find their shipment and they need you to double check it right now.
Right.
That's
Yep.
not how the world works. It's
No,
not.
and I always, if I have to text someone after hours, I literally start it with, "You no need to respond to this now. I'm sending it so I don't forget." Like I text one of my lenders Sunday night because I had just finished meeting with, we have a young buyer. He's 21, first time homeowner, wanted to go over the inspection in person because I knew his mom was out of town. And I was like, let's sit down. I want to make sure you're comfortable with what we're seeing here. And so as I was leaving, I text my lender and said, okay, we're good to order the appraisal. No need to respond now. It's Sunday afternoon. I know you're with your family, but I wanted to make sure we were first on the list for tomorrow morning. And he responded. Like, I talk to him all the time, but I always lay that out. Like, I'm sorry I'm violating that boundary. I'm only doing it so I don't forget. And there's no need to
It's
respond to me right now. I just need to make
it's
sure
a
the message
respect
gets
thing.
sent. Yeah.
And humans, I feel like in general, do try to be respectful. And same thing, like I'll have clients that have texted me and say, "Hey, don't text me back till tomorrow. No worries. But here's what I needed to say." Right?
Right.
And sometimes I do respond and sometimes I don't. Because I've set that expectation in place that Sunday is our family day. We don't work on Sundays. And I mean, there's always an occasion that they're only in town today and we're going to go see this property, whatever the case may be. But I have the ability to say yes because I've already said no.
Right. And when we get into the business, that's great. We're like, yes, I set my own hours. I work from home. And then you find out what that's really like sometimes. You're like, oh, crap. But I also think, like, so as for, like, they're only in town for one day, I've had that happen where I'm not available that day. Sorry, I'm already booked. Like, or I'm supposed to be out of town visiting my family. That's why we have things like we network with other agents to say, hey, can you handle this showing? Maybe they're on your team, maybe they're in your firm. Maybe you have to use the apps to get someone to show a house. But if that boundary is a hard boundary for you, you should never violate it for business. And I think you made a good point. People will respect you more when you don't. Because if you just jump and go and you're always like, yep, I'm here, like, sorry, my family doesn't exist. Well, one, your family's going to fall apart. And two, your clients are going to be like, we can't. They may not realize they're thinking this, but they will subconsciously think, we can walk all over her. She'll do whatever we want. No.
Whenever we
Right.
want, which is the problem.
Right.
And the
And
other thing
so,
too, technology has made it even easier to set boundaries, right? Because
yes.
you can set your focus to do not disturb. You can set up a work focus that only allows work related items to come through. You can set it up so only family can ring through. There's a plethora of ways to make it easier for you because I am a squirrel mentality, right? So if I'm working on the computer on something that I need to get done and I hear a ding, I'm like, oh, somebody needs me.
Yep.
And that goes back to our time blocking and things like that. Like I put it on do not disturb for whatever that hour. And because nothing is going to fall apart so badly in an hour that it's not going to be the same thing that it was an hour ago. You know what I mean? The
Right.
problem will still be there. We'll fix it in a minute.
Well, and I also think technology has come so far just with our listings too. Like, I can, when MLS was a book, right? And this is way before my time, but you only got 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. You didn't know everything we know in MLS now. You didn't get the up to 42 pictures of the property or a link to the floor plan or a Matterhorn or all those things. So a lot of times we were like, oh, we have to see this. Hold on. Like one of my tools to set a boundary is I scrub that listing first and I say, hey guys, you wanted 5 acres. This is only 2. Are we sure about this? Or you wanted primary on main floor. This is primary on third floor. Have you thought about that? Take 2 minutes, take 5 minutes, take 10 minutes. Pull up that listing and make sure it actually has the things your clients want.
And that is the biggest time hole also. If you've got people that are like, "Oh, this house came up. It could work. It could work. This could work. I would be willing. We could try this. I want to look at it. I can see it." That so I do a needs versus wants, right? When we talk about things like what are your non-negotiables? Everybody loves to go look at houses. It's one of my favorite parts about the
Mm-hmm.
job, But it's not time respectful
Right.
to just blindly go see 37 houses over the course of 10 months.
Yes.
It's just not. There, especially with the amount of inventory that we don't have right now, there is no way that you have 42 listings that you want to look at.
Right.
No way.
I think another boundary I like to set is expectations of who is coming to our showings. And I've learned
That's
this
a
one
good
the hard way.
one.
I had a family that I adore them. I adore this family. And it was them, their two children, their adult son, his wife, newborn baby, grandma, at brother-in-law and his kids and wife. And I was like, who's buying the house?
Right.
Like, and then they would all be in 8 different places, and it's my responsibility to make sure nothing happens to those houses. And so finally I had to have the conversation of, hey guys, like they showed up to a showing, granted it was land, but with a four-wheeler one day. And I was like, put that thing away. Well, no, put it away. Because if these sellers don't want you cutting an accidental trail with your tire marks, put it away. So you have to set the expectation. That's a boundary too, of not necessarily to make your time, like to make sure they're not violating time with your family and things, but to make sure that they're not disrespecting a property or doing things they're not supposed to. Like who's coming and what are we allowed to do? I think is a very important boundary, especially with buyers. And that goes with sellers too. Hey guys, can't audio record, unplug the camera. And I had a client once be like, well, we know those people aren't going to buy the house after the comments they made. And I was like, what do you mean the comments they made? They said, oh, we have a
Right.
camera in the living room. And I said, I told you to unplug it
Mm-hmm.
or turn the audio. Like you can't, that's illegal. So you just have to make sure you're setting the boundaries and enforcing them to the best of your ability.
Yeah, because there's always, there's always going to be that showing. There's always going to be
Right.
that person that forever texts you at 6:30 and you don't respond until the next day. But the biggest thing is you have to stick to it. When you set a boundary and then continue to let everybody walk all over you, they just won't take you seriously. And honestly, I had more business the year that I was like, no,
Yep.
than I had previously because I wasn't spread so thin. I wasn't running here, there, everywhere all the time and doing things at 10, 11 o'clock at night and trying to get signatures and get information. Nobody likes that. Nobody. And now when I get emails from an agent at like 11:30 at night, I'm like, homie, you should probably go to bed.
Right. I had an agent last night text me at 8:45. Hey, who do you use for your photographer for your listings? Wait, what? Why are you texting me at almost 9 o'clock at night? That that could have been done tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I will get back to you tomorrow. And I'll see things come through and I'm like, nope. No, listen, the best feature Apple ever released was being able to open a text message and then re-highlight it as unread so I can go
Yes.
back through it. Specifically holiday. We
Yes.
know that you got trampled on Thanksgiving, so what are we doing about it for Christmas? Are you telling people that come the 24th, come Christmas Eve, that you are unavailable until Christmas Eve is on a
Saturday?
Sunday?
Hold on. Yes, Christmas Eve is Sunday the 24th and Christmas is the 25th.
Right? So for sellers that I have at that point, I'm still doing, a Monday update. Well, maybe not on Monday
Right?
because that will be Christmas.
Right.
Right. But they'll have an update, that kind of thing. Buyers, if they need to see a property, I'm going to let them know, hey, I'm not available. I have somebody who's local that may be able to do that. But I will have an email responder that says, I'm away from my computer. I will be checking emails between 2 and 3, whatever I decide to do for while we're gone. But that way it sets an expectation. Hi, I hear you. I see you. I will get back to you.
Right. So
Because that's all people want is to be acknowledged and then followed up with.
exactly. So my last closing of the year right now, this could change, is the 22nd and it is my most personal closing ever. My mama is buying a house. And I'm not even the agent. I just referred it. But I actually FaceTimed her this morning and I was like, really, I don't have to be there for your final walkthrough and your closing. And she was like, well, yeah. And I could see it and I could hear it. And I was like, but you want me to, don't you? And she was like, yeah. So that happens to be in the town where we do Christmas, which is like 3 hours from here. So I told her, I said, as long as there's nothing else that's happening, then yes, I will just stay through Christmas. It'll be fine. But it'll be the same thing. Very clear communication that I will not be checking anything after noon on Christmas Eve. Sorry, hard stop. I think we go to church at like 2:30 or something with my sister. By the time I get up, get breakfast with the kids and check things, it'll probably be noon. But noon on
Mm-hmm.
Christmas Eve is a hard stop. Laptop will stay closed until Tuesday. iPad will stay closed until Tuesday. Um, so all of my clients will get an email saying that. Anyone, and that's like pipeline people who are like iffy as to what they're doing. Anyone who's under contract or has a listing or like we're very active will get a text message or a call that says, hey, just a reminder, setting this boundary. I mean, I won't say I'm setting a boundary, but from noon on Sunday until Tuesday or Monday. What day is Christmas? Noon on
Christmas is on
Sunday
Monday.
till till Tuesday morning. No go. Like just if you say something, I'm not looking at anything until Tuesday. Um and again,
I
if your house burns down because a tree fell over because your cat crawled up it, there's nothing I can do. Call the fire department. Like that, I
and I
can't
feel
save
like
that. Um,
this holiday especially, people are just like like nobody wants to be out looking at houses on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day.
I had a
There's really not going to
showing
be a lot going on.
on Thanksgiving on one of my properties. I was shocked. I was like, "What?
That's so
What are
funny.
you doing?"
That's so funny. But no, I feel like that is especially Christmas. People are presents and stockings and dinner and those kinds of things. They're not thinking about what their real estate agent is doing and why she didn't text them back.
Right.
Like
And
that's,
if they
and I
are,
feel like it's
then they're not people we want to work with.
right. It's the easiest boundary to set because honestly, it's like an unspoken boundary anyway. But the fact that I think it's just a respect thing of like, hey, Merry Christmas. I won't be available from Sunday at noon until Tuesday morning. I hope you enjoy the time with your family. And they're like, oh, yeah, Merry Christmas.
Right.
I'll talk to you next week. It's not hard. It's not hard, but
No.
it makes a world of difference in your day to day, especially if you start implementing a end of work time. Like, there are not many people in this world that don't have an end of their day.
Hmm. Or even like if I do decide to stay in Georgia longer, or, when I go back and forth, like maybe for that holiday week, just because it is a holiday week, people don't, like you said, people don't need to know where I am or what I'm doing.
Right.
It will be hard stop from noon until Tuesday. And then after that, through the first of the year, I will, like you said earlier, I will be checking emails these 2 times of a day. Because then I can set expectations with my family. I can set it to, okay, I know I'll do it once in the morning before noon because knowing my family, we're not rolling out the door before noon. We've got two
Right.
kids, dogs, all that stuff we've got to get settled in the morning. And then I will say, okay, I'll check it in the evening, which will be either before or after dinner because I know like that's the sweet spot with the kids. It's 1 week a year. This should be the same thing if you're going on vacation. Like, yes, this is holiday specific. So most of the world understands that at this time of year, people are out of office more. But you need to respect, people need to respect it and you need to set those boundaries so that you're not sending an email at the Thanksgiving table.
I think that that's really and truly the only thing that people care about for boundaries because nobody wants to be like your response to that agent that sent a an offer, right? You never heard anything from
Right.
them. And then here's an updated offer, right? We need to know something.
If you communicate well and set that expectation, people are not going to be upset. I think the other thing, other than out of office and communication, is Christmas is a month away. We've talked about networking in other episodes. You need to be leaning into that networking right now to see who is and is not out of town and when, and who will be available to help with showings if you need them. So, like for you, you're going to Universal. you probably are going to start asking, yo, Alyssa, when are you going to Georgia? When are you coming back? Or
Yeah, I'm
like,
taking notes. You said you were going to be gone when?
right. So that you know, so that I'll have a list. I will start a list knowing, okay, like the last time I went into town, when we were in San Diego, I had a list. I knew you were available certain days. I knew my friend Susan was available certain days, and they helped with like if I needed someone, I knew I had that list ready to go. Be prepared. Have an idea. Also, you should be asking your clients, are they going away for the holidays? Because maybe they won't be in town and you don't even have to worry about it. So
Right.
why worry about it? Like, if I know my clients aren't going to be here, then I don't have to worry about it. Um,
Mhm.
so that I mean, I guess that goes back to communication, but it's also that preparation of, okay, this is what you need to make sure is taken care of so that you can very smoothly, very easily, and with as least stress as possible enjoy whether it's holidays or vacation and have those boundaries set.
Yeah, whatever they say about like work life balance, you know?
Right?
I know it's fictional. It's like a unicorn, but we do our best, and that starts with a boundary. And it won't kill you. It won't ruin your business. It really honestly, it won't. It'll be the best thing that you can implement is something just as simple as an email responder or changing your voicemail to say, "Hey, here's when you can expect to hear back from me."
Yep. But definitely for Christmas, like it will go up that, after noon on Christmas Eve, nothing's getting checked until Tuesday. And through the first of the year, I will only be checking emails a couple times a day because I'll be with family.
Yeah, and I'm working on 12-week year goals and
Right? Like,
implementing new things
right.
and
Because
all
it
that
doesn't
stuff too.
mean like just because you're setting that bound doesn't mean you're off just gallivanting and having fun. Like, part of
Right.
that, very good point, Brenna, is I am using that time to make sure my business is set up for success in 2024. I need to sit down and work on my goals. I need to clean out my database and really figure out, okay, how am I attacking using that this year? Or maybe I'm just taking a Zoom class and learning how to use that database because I haven't had the time. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't mean you're just off having fun or spending time with family. Those boundaries can be used to um, work on your business.
To do what works for you, what works for your family. So if your time blocking is, I won't start responding until 10 a.m., then say that. If you're one that wants to work until 8 or 9 o'clock at night, great. But it's just got to be, you got to set the boundary where you need it to be, and it'll work. It really will
Yep.
work. So
Yep.
start implementing. And if you don't have a voicemail set up, gosh darn it,
Or if your
do a
voicemail is
voicemail.
full, clean it out.
It's the worst.
I hate that.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but if you don't have a voicemail, set one up. If you have a voicemail and it's full, clean it out.
Yes, exactly.
Those are my
Please.
two.
Please.
All right.
All right,
Well,
girl.
I guess we will talk to you next week.
Yes.
I don't know what we're talking about next week, but
I don't
we'll
know.
be back on Tuesday
Yeah,
with something new.
we'll know ahead of time. We'll figure it out, but we just don't know right now.
We always figure it out. All right.
Yes.
Till next Tuesday.
All right. See you later, girl.